on set. Places, everybody. And action.
It's time once again for the Hooked on Movies podcast. Today, we are doing a rare movie, one that we've never done before. It's rated G. That's right. Is it Disney? No, it's not Disney. It's Star Trek, the motion picture. And with me are Justin.
Belay that order.
Ken.
Torpedoes away.
And I'm Eric. Spock. Ken. Justin. You haven't changed a bit. You're just as warm and sociable as ever. We're doing Star Trek the Motion Picture, and if you don't get their lines that those two did, you will when we discuss this movie and more. So we want to thank everyone out there who listens to Hooked on Movies, the podcast, our friends at the Dorkening Network, and all the streaming services out there. Thank you. Justin, when is the first time you saw this movie? And I'm going to guess it wasn't in the theater.
No, this one I was last not alive for another couple of years. I have not seen this in the theater. The first time I would have seen it, which would have been on VHS in the late 80s, early 90s.
Holy cow, man, you stole my thunder. That's exactly when I saw it on VHS in the late 80s. Did you
I got
ever
it from
see
the library.
Okay, well, I got it from Video Villa, so library. Did you ever see this movie in the theater, like with a group of showings?
No, this is the only Star Trek movie I have never seen in the theater.
Because as many people out there might not know, we actually have two dedicated Trekkies here who really, really love Star Trek. So you are all in for a treat. Ken, how about you?
Cable. Probably around 81, 82, somewhere around that area.
Was it HBO 1981? That's the link you sent me? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early tidbit on that, Orson Welles was the narrator for those.
Was he the HBO trailers?
All the Star Trek motion picture trailers were Orson Welles.
Rosebud HBO. What? No.
Have you ever seen Orson Welles do the commercials for the wine where he's like just shit-faced drunk?
Yeah.
It's like 15 takes. He's like, I'm Orson Welles.
I'm convinced him and John Houseman were sitting on the same chair their whole lives.
That's right. John Houseman is, yes.
Yeah, because every time they're in a commercial, they're always sitting down.
Yes.
They're not moving at all.
Paralyzed for life, right? That's right. John Houseman, yes. Except in the Paper Chase, I do remember him walking a couple times.
Yeah.
So.
But I think, what was it? What was the commercial that he did where it's like, they do it the old-fashioned way. They earn it.
E.F. Hutton. E.F. Hutton Investments, yes. That's right.
That is just bizarre.
You could do a whole podcast dedicated to John Houseman, right? Particulars, Justin. I bet you got some real winners for us today.
Okay, I sure do. So the Star Trek, the motion picture, 1979, rated G, director Robert Wise, producers Gene Roddenberry, with writers Harold Livingston for the screenplay, story by Alan Dean Foster, who was a popular sci-fi writer at the time, based on Star Trek by Gene Roddenberry. And I don't know if this could be a tidbit or not, but science consultant Isaac Asimov. So that was pretty interesting to see in there. Special effects, supervision, Douglas Trumbull, and let's see, composer Jerry Goldsmith. Very noticeable. They've got the, the Golden score in there, and it's kind of like pumped up from the show. So the music definitely gets an upgrade in this. Let's see, the budget, 35 to 44 million, depending on the source. Domestic gross, 82 million. So it made back some money. International, 56, 741, 544, and worldwide, 139 million. So they nearly tripled their budget. But of course, we don't know how long, from 1979 to 2026, perhaps. Principal cast, we have William Shatner as Captain James Tiberius Kirk. We have Leonard Nimoy as Spock, DeForest Kelley as Dr. Leonard Bones McCoy, James Doonan as Montgomery Scott, George Takei as Hikaru Sulu, Nichelle Nichols as Uhura. We've got Walter Koenig as Pavel Chekhov. Then we've got Majel Barrett as Christine Chapel. We've got Persis Chembata as Aaliyah. And then we've got Stephen Collins as Commander Decker. There's probably not many more characters of note in this besides that main cast, so I'm not going to mention, Jerry Mathers and the Beaver.
Ted would have found more. Ted would have
I
given us at
know.
least
It would have been
15
like
more people.
Alien Boy, played by actual character, the character with like that big head and all that. was
Klingon
called-
number 2, played
Yeah.
by.
And I mean, that's the only other one is the Klingon captain was played by the actor that played Sarek, and he's done
Spock's
so many
father.
things.
Yes.
Spock's father, yeah.
One correction for you there, Justin. You will offend Mr. Shatner on this. It's Admiral James T. Kirk.
He plays both roles, I guess. But yeah,
he is an
no,
admiral in this one.
Yes,
and
he
then
is.
he goes back to captain when he assumes from
He does
Decker.
because even Chekhov says captain.
Yes.
instead of
Captain.
admiral.
Captain.
All right, I got some Rotten Tomato scores here. Critic score give it a 51%, which shows that it's okay
Generous.
to be just above average. And audience score of 79%. IMDb gave it 6.4. And then just for awards and nominations, this was nominated for Best Art Direction, Best Visual Effects, Best Original Score. And for Golden Globes, it was nominated for Best Original Score. Saturn Awards, it also all of these categories, surprisingly, Best Supporting Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Actress, Best Actor, Best Director. Those are all nominations. The only thing that it won was the Saturn Awards for Best Special Effects. And Saturn Awards, if you're curious, are a prestigious film category where they do awards for sci-fi. It's usually like sci-fi, things like that. Hugo Awards, it was nominated for Best Dramatic Presentation. It did not win many awards, so I guess that's consistent with the 6.4 rating.
No, you got to be joshing me on that one.
I have a quote here from Roger Ebert, 1979, just a kind of a truncated version. Ebert admired the film's special effects, especially the sequences involving the alien vessel, calling them terrific stuff. He felt that the movie lacked emotional energy, and the familiarity of the TV cast reduced the sense of discovery that the story needed. And we could not find a quote from Gene Siskel. He just stayed out of it. And those are the particulars for Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
I think that's interesting about the special effects because when I think of this movie, I think of when they're in that space station, getting ready to go over to the Enterprise, and in the background, it looks like a matte painting. I mean, I look at it and I'm like, there's no way they're in the future here.
Space station / discotheque. I think
Yeah,
I saw
like
a ball
they're
there.
about ready. He's getting ready to get on the escalator to meet and then before he meets the Vulcan and
Yeah.
stuff like that. That
It's a movie screen. It's pretty clear as
it's
day. Yeah.
bad. It's really bad.
I think they spent everything on the exterior shot of the Enterprise in like the first 6-minute scene where they have that go on like way too long. Like
Oh, yeah.
that was the budget. And then it was like, let's get the best possible things for this wormhole and the warp feature. And then for like V'ger themselves, I guess. I don't know. Himself,
V'ger.
whatever.
These special effects remind me of the initial ones where they're showing the Enterprise and the other ships. Remember the SNL skit from 1986 where they turned the Enterprise into a revolving restaurant, the one that Shatner, and they had this special effect with the Marriott Corporation, a Marriott sign on top of the Enterprise spinning round and round. It looked like those special effects.
I love that. I love that you
It was
said that and you brought that up.
pretty
Yeah.
poor. Must have been slim
I-
pickings for Saturn Awards if they were.
There's some good
Yeah.
special effects in this movie.
Yeah,
really
like,
good.
yeah, like Justin
But
said,
there
they
are-
were all
but then-
dumped in the one category.
But then but then on the other end, it's really bad too. So but I mean,
Doesn't it remind you of like Disney's The Black Hole? Like a little bit.
I love the Black Hole,
I do too, and it's
Which-
terrible.
which was also done in 1979.
Yes.
It's the same year.
Yeah, I think that it's very consistent with that kind of thing, and it's like you get so used to seeing what other competitors are doing. It's like the only thing you really should compare this to is the original series effects. And I'll say this ship looks awesome. Like when you see it, it looks really good, like in that shot. But like I said, that's
6 minutes
that's
long.
the
Yep.
budget, man.
As far as the special effects, everything is done too long on the special effect.
Oh
itself.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
the problem with it the most. Like even the transporter, when they transport somebody over, it seems like it takes about 5 minutes for from them to materialize. It's like
right.
they didn't have that problem in the original series. What did they get it from Timu or something? Their transporter. I
Timu.
mean, come on.
that's kind of like describing this as like masturbatory, in a sense where it's like we've got all this great tech. Let's just show it to you rather than put it on story or character growth or something like that. So I do think that there's a fair amount of that, because like how often do we see like Spock looking at a screen, or do we see, just engineering and they're like, oh, this guy gets up and looks, and it's like, oh, well, was that something interesting? Was I supposed to follow that? No, this panel just exploded. What the hell was he looking at? It's like they're just giving us too much of these.
On a tidbit there, on a side note, did Spock's ears look different? Like they were just glued on?
I guess that's harder to tell.
In every other movie, that seem perfectly. It actually looks like they're real. In this one, I was looking at going, they look like they just glued them on.
Maybe he had plastic surgery. I don't know.
Plastic
There's
surgery.
a different color palette to this than the original series too. So it's also probably like maybe what they did for the series doesn't translate on like the celluloid. So because the filters are completely different, and you've got almost like a warm, sepia color on like the old series, and then this one it's like nope, clinical. It's got that Sony
like
lens.
Doctor's office.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like there's overhead lights that are fluorescent. Yeah, it's interesting stuff.
Well, let's roll into Ken's tidbits. Ken's tidbits.
Tidbits.
Take it away, Ken.
First thing I'll throw out there, since we were talking about like doctor's office stuff, everybody hated these uniforms. Everybody hated these new uniforms.
Hey, man, they were a hit at the discotheque. Studio 54 loved them.
They look like
short sleeve.
They look,
do you know what they looked like? Buck Rogers. I thought I was watching Buck Rogers for a minute.
Yeah. Which is a futuristic discotheque, let's be honest. So
also done in this era.
And done better. Anyway.
I mean, you have Aaron Gray. So
Aaron Gray, exactly.
You have my allegiance, sir.
There we go.
Post.
And I wish I knew who was the one that played the the evil queen or whatever she was. Buck had a thing. Her and him had a thing. I forget the actress's name. I think she's still alive too. But anyway, when Captain Kirk addresses the crew before launching, many of the extras were noted Star Trek fans, including, and I don't know if this is how you pronounce his first name, Joe Trimbo, who was a core organizer of the letter writing campaign that kept Star Trek on for a third season. So that's kind of nice that they, kind of paid that back to him.
Stalker.
The only original prop from the Star Trek TV show was Uhura's communication earpieces. And they only used them because they forgot to make new ones.
That's good for the 5 lines she has in this movie.
I know, right?
I liked her boots.
Yeah, that's fair.
Her hair might have had more lines than she did.
Yeah, she didn't talk much.
It's okay. She more than made up for it in, was it Star Trek 5 or 6? We don't need to go there now, but I'm just saying.
Both. Yeah.
Excellent.
Although the existence of a Klingon language was confirmed with the episode Trouble with Tribbles, the language itself was never heard spoken aloud in the original series. The lines were spoken by Klingon Captain Mark Leonard, who we were talking about earlier. And the lines were actually invented by James Doohan, Scotty. The linguist Mark Okrand would later devise a complete Klingon grammar syntax rules along with more vocabulary for Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. And he also wrote a Klingon dictionary. So,
Nerd!
Yeah.
Kapla!
There are people that do weddings in Klingon. I mean, it's kind of messed up.
Kiss my batleth.
Grace Lee Whitney, who plays Yeoman Janice Rand, she, if you might have heard in the original series, she was only in like the first season, but there was some controversy between her and Gene Roddenberry and some.
Wonder what that could have been. Did he attack her in a hot tub?
So they let her go, and she struggled there from getting jobs. She was probably blacklisted to a certain extent, and she became an alcoholic, and had marijuana addiction. And so Shatner actually went to Leonard Nimoy and basically said, hold out for more, but include getting Grace Lee Whitney back into the movie. So that was kind of a cool play by William Shatner. People give Shatner a hard time, but that's kind of one of the cool things. And the fact that Leonard Nimoy agreed. Leonard Nimoy has always been somebody that didn't shy away from negotiations when he wanted to get things that he wanted in a movie.
So with this, I mean, Nimoy had been in several movies. I don't know how many movies Shatner was in at this point, but this is what, to me, made Shatner a movie star.
Well, he was doing TV shows.
Yeah,
he was doing
T.J. Hooker, right?
No, T.J. Hooker was after.
The
Was that
Bionic
okay?
Man.
Oh, that's what.
I
Okay.
remember having a guest appearance on The Bionic Man. He did a movie called Kingdom of the Spiders.
Well, Kingdom. How could I forget that? Yeah.
A lot of Love Boat.
There was I think was it The Devil's Daughter or something like that? I don't know. It was some type of horror film that he did in the 70s.
So pretty much B movies. He was
A
relegated to like that
lot
sort
of
of
B
thing.
movies, yeah.
And this is when like Nimoy was just getting like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Came off of that in 78.
Yep.
Yep.
So he really didn't
he
need
was-
this.
No.
But then again, we were joking on the Invasion of the Body Snatchers episode that Nimoy basically played it as Spock.
Yeah, pretty
You know,
much.
so
Well, Nimoy was doing In Search Of, that TV series in the late 70s too, which is like a cult favorite now. People love it.
So it was understood in the script, but not stated in the film, that Commander William Decker is the son of Commodore Matthew Decker from the Doomsday Machine. So that was something I did not know. The film was the basis for McDonald's first Happy Meal for movies.
Wow, that's an interesting tidbit.
That's a cool tidbit. I did not know that.
Persis Clambata.
I said Chambata, but I mean it's like
I had
Chambata.
a bout of that a couple of years ago. It's quite painful.
Right,
a mixed drink. But
right. She became very emotional about her having her head shaved for the role. So we said this earlier. She was a model because you could tell it wasn't because of her acting that she got this job. She actually kept some of that hair in a box and asked Gene Roddenberry to take out insurance in case her hair didn't grow back.
wow. She looked fantastic for having
I was
her
going to
head
say,
shaved
she
and all
looked
that. Like
very erotic.
one of the high points of the film, I think, is just getting to look at like how cool she looks, and she's like a fashion like icon in space, and everybody else looks like dirt.
I'm not
She's
into the
walking
Sinead.
around in robe and heels and stuff. I'm like, oh, come on.
She's the precursor for Sinead O'Connor.
I guess.
Yeah, Sinead couldn't pull it off like
No,
Leah could.
I would think like there's other characters on like Next Generation or something like that have like followed this, where it's like, hey, let's do this. But she's not like would this character have worked better as like an Andorian, or would it have worked better as a Vulcan, or would it have worked better as something else? I don't know. I mean, she was someone who kind of like commanded your attention when you look at the screen. So you're like, oh, I wonder what's going on there. Kind of an interesting look.
She actually was temporarily blinded in a scene where, with all that light, when V'Ger comes and kind of like takes her and possesses her and shit, the
I
light
think I was
temporarily blinded her from the intense light. But then she recovered. Everybody thought that this film wasn't going to do well. Shatner said he watched this before it was released, and he's like, man, this is boring. So he thought this was the end of Star Trek for sure.
If he thought it, it's okay for us to say it.
Actually, Nimoy had the exact opposite. He actually really liked the film. He thought it was really well made.
Was he in his director era yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, so maybe this is the precursor.
I think
to
Star
that.
Trek 3 was actually his first directorial job, and then he got other jobs after that for it.
He should have directed this one.
That was one of the things that I was going to say earlier when we were listing up all the writers and directors and things of that nature. You should get Star Trek people to do a Star Trek movie. We learned that later in some other Star Trek films that, if you don't bring on Star Trek people, then they rely on the actors and everybody else to kind of raise up, the tone. And I think that's part of the, we'll talk more about this as the podcast goes along. It doesn't know how to be Star Trek sometimes. And I think that's because your writers are not original Star Trek writers. Your director doesn't know anything about Star Trek.
Or pacing.
Yeah. And of course, this movie relies on the fact that you had 2001: A Space Odyssey and Star Wars: A New Hope, and you have those two movies, and it doesn't know how to pick a lane, I don't think, in this situation.
This was that era. It was like the space boom, because we joked about Disney's The Black Hole, but you've also have like Lost in Space before this was on TV. Star Trek was on TV. Buck Rogers.
Everyone was jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, it was like a space boom.
Wasn't there one called Space 1999?
Yeah.
Yeah. They had a really good theme song, actually. So Gilligan's Island in space.
There's so many things that are in space that shouldn't be a thing.
Moonraker.
Moonraker.
Yeah. Everybody had to go to space.
That got 52 on Rotten Tomatoes.
When Gene Roddenberry was hearing about Star Wars and stuff like that, he went and checked it out, and I think he used that as the basis for this film. But the problem was he was watching the holiday special and not the original movie. So I think that's where the problem was.
And why is
Happy
it B.
Life Day.
Arthur in this?
All right.
That
She's-
is definitely a Star Trek actress, B. Arthur.
But that's all I have for Ken's tidbits. So at this time, we go to the plot with Eric.
Cool. All right. The plot. In the 23rd century, circa 1979, a vast and immensely powerful, mysterious alien cloud is detected moving through space towards Earth, destroying everything in its path, including Klingon warships and a Federation space station. With no other ships in range, Admiral James Tiberius Kirk takes command of the newly refitted USS Enterprise, displacing its current captain, William Decker. The crew, including Spock and Dr. McCoy, reunites and sets out to intercept the threat. The mission is rocky at first due to malfunctioning new systems and tension among the crew, but they eventually reach the massive cloud. Inside, they encounter a probe that destroys and replaces crew member Aliyah with an identical android-like duplicate used by the entity to communicate. The Enterprise crew discovers that the cloud is actually a gigantic living machine called V'ger, which is seeking its creator. As they explore deeper, they learn the shocking truth. V'ger is a transformed version of Voyager 6, an old Earth space probe that was lost, upgraded by an advanced machine race, and evolved into a sentient entity. Ooh, fancy. Having gathered immense knowledge, V'ger cannot fulfill its purpose without directly connecting with its creator. When it reaches Earth and fails to receive an answer, it threatens to destroy the planet. In the climax, Captain Decker merges with V'ger through the Aliyah probe, allowing it to complete its mission and evolve into a new, higher form of life. The resulting transformation saves Earth. The film ends with the Enterprise crew safe and continuing their mission of exploration under Kirk's command into the sequel.
Yeah, why don't they, instead of say merges, why don't they just say they had sex?
They merged.
Kind of.
They merged into one
They
being.
were making out. They've been wanting to have sex since the beginning of the film, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I always say Trek is more about sex than Star Wars. Like Star Wars is about religion, and Star Trek is about sex.
That's because Shatner's banging anything that moves.
Star Wars is about incest.
That's true.
It's also about that, but not exclusively about that. But yes, it is about that.
It has been brought up in prior talks.
I have heard talks.
Yes,
of.
I have heard talks of ancestral stuff. Yes. All right. Well, let's get into the discussion here. So, just to start off, we'll just do kind of like a little bio here. So, think about this. You were a fan of Star Trek, the TV show. It's off the air for a decade prior. All of a sudden, the news, it was always talked about being made, the movie, put on hold, contract talks, all this stuff. Of course, you didn't have the internet then, so you really didn't know all this. And then maybe in the theater, you see a trailer for the new Star Trek movie. Ooh, you're a Star
I'd
Trek
about
fan.
lost my mind. Yeah.
I would have too. Sometimes trailers are sometimes better than the movies. You see the trailer, you go see the movie, you're like, oh, a little bit of a letdown. So this movie is interesting with the way it starts off. So the opening of this movie is, of course, the Klingons. Now, I got to say, the Klingons actually are done pretty well in this movie, considering you've really never seen Klingons to this caliber. I'm going to play the dumb card here because I'm not a real Star Trek TV show. Are the Klingons in the original?
Yes.
The TV
Yeah.
show? Do they look like this?
No.
Okay. They look a little bit better in this, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Assuming
okay.
Well-
this is the direction you wanted to take Klingons in, yes.
Yes.
I'd say yes and no, because at times they look like puppy dogs and stuff like. I mean, they just
In the TV show, or
No, in the movie they kind of come off looking a little more like curious animals than they look like an actual race of beings per se. because the only one that really talks is the captain of the ship. Everybody else is looking around like, oh, what's going on here? Duh, and they got their teeth like sticking out, and then just my dog gives me some of these looks that they were giving the captain during this stuff, and I'm like, it gets a lot better after Star Trek 3 after kind of moving forward. The Klingons are
Christopher Lloyd, with like the
and
absolutely.
you get TNG and all that that's what the Klingons, I think, is the best version of what Klingons should look like.
Yes, but this is a good start. This is a good.
Well, it's better than because all they did was give face paint and and give
ridges maybe or something like
not even more ridges. They played with the eyebrows more, gave it more definition, and they may have given them like little mustache, like not full mustaches, but
Fu Manchu mustache kind of.
Fu Manchu type of exactly. Because the aliens in the series for the most part just look like humans. The exception to that was like the original pilot where they actually look like aliens. All the other ones would look like humans.
That went on into the cartoon series too, where they were the main bad guys in the cartoon, and they looked just like they did on the series.
Except in the cartoon series, we had a helmsman that was a dog with long hair.
I didn't say they were perfect.
All right.
I think it looks cool, Eric. I think it was cool.
Okay. I did say I did like that, the way it started out here.
It's better than what the original series is, at least, yeah.
So why do you guys think the film began with the Klingons rather than having like the Federation or the Enterprise or something? Why do you think they started out with the evil Klingons?
I think they needed somebody that we knew that had to go up against the new baddie. Our worst enemy is annihilated at the beginning of the film.
No one cares if Klingons die.
Well, but it also sets the stage that this is going to be a harder enemy to deal with than the Klingons.
It's also kind of cool that they just introduced the Klingons and then that's it. You never hear from them again.
And I think it's a mistake, to be honest with you. Just because you bring in the Klingons, and of course the expectations are, again, the Klingons.
We're going to get a battle scene.
We're going to get a battle.
Yeah.
Not only is it a problem with the Klingons, but the Klingons are running away. They're running away. When the V'ger shoots out that whatever that blast is at them.
Well, one of their ships is annihilated, disappears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Klingons believe in dying in battle. They never retreat.
I don't think we got to that point yet with like Klingon lore. So I don't know that's been like, I fully 100% agree with you. But I'm looking at it in like retrospect, and I'm like, I don't know if they were there yet.
Well, then I heard some moving forward in the Star Trek lore, basically.
If they made this now, it would have been the Borg, that got like destroyed, or like the Jem'Hadar or something like that. It would be like, wow, they took out with like, it's just
bad.
Yeah, it's a level set is all it is. It's like, well, we're not going to beat these guys by just charging in headstrong, and I think that's kind of like what Picard season 3 did. So it's like they recreated this with like a different circumstance.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but that's cool. All right.
The listeners know.
That's what's important.
And you need to know also that this is basically a remake of the TV series, of an episode from the TV series. We've already done this with V'ger before.
Mm-hmm.
In a TV episode, which the laziness of this is mind-boggling. Because I would imagine people who are Star Trek fans that grew up with the series and find out that this is what they're going up, that's what they're going up against, are going like, didn't we already do this?
We saw this. So you're saying the people in the theater are like, wait a minute, we've seen this already.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's different. It's almost like a retelling in a different way because in the series, it originally all happens on the ship. It's not, they don't go to V'ger. V'ger goes to the ship.
Mm-hmm. I prefer the Futurama episode.
You guys are obviously the Star Trek experts. Please explain to me the next scene with Spock on Vulcan in the Kolinahr. Am I saying that right? What exactly is he? Is he trying to get some type of like a higher sense of life? What exactly is going on there? Because I didn't understand it, and I really didn't think it even needed to be there because it just confused me. Yeah,
it's a rite of passage to become kind of like an elder to reach logical enlightenment, that sort of thing. So it's something that he strived for as a half Vulcan, that he wanted to embrace that aspect of his culture. But we find out that he's flawed. right? He's got this other thing going on with the half human part of him. Ideally,
Is that why
what
he kind of looks like a dirty hippie walking around Vulcan there?
that's
Everyone else is
exactly
all
why.
nicely
Yeah.
dressed, and he looks like he's been wandering the planet for days or weeks.
The reason that they did this scene is because they want to introduce that aspect of him that is the closest to the adversary later on. So it's that whole Chekhov's gun, but not actually Chekhov's gun. It's like they want to tell you it's like this scene is going to be important and this character is integral. He's the only one that can help figure out this puzzle later on. That's why they're showing you this. What this ceremony will become later on and all that, I mean, and we'll see it, and I think Discovery has some of it in it, and like some of the other films, and maybe even Brave New Worlds. I don't know, like the other series, but it becomes much more important down the road. Right now, it's a MacGuffin. It's a modus operandi to get you to where you want to get in the episode. So they're like, let's throw this at the wall. We're just gonna not explain it. We're gonna tell people the minimal amount they need to know. We're going to show them some cool images. We're going to show them a fan favorite character, and then he's going to be important later on. And that's why he's not on the Enterprise. So it's, again, like kind of level setting. It's like, well, how come Spock's not there? Well, he's here. We have to show him to you because if not, you're going to be like, well, where's Spock?
Wow.
It's funny that they decided to do Spock first, actually, before they brought James T. Kirk and the rest of them, and then then we find out later where Spock's at. They kind of do a reversal on that. Again, I feel like this is a little bit of lazy writing because I know Spock he's a little bit of a telepath, but to this extent, I think is stretching it a little bit. First of all, it's a machine that
like V'ger he's trying to communicate with him directly.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the distance is crazy. I mean, and for only Spock to kind of like have this, I don't know. I think it's just a little bit, again, bad
I think
writing.
it's important to him because of the similarities that they have. So maybe that's why he's attuned to it. Again, this is me reading into it. And
because
probably
he's
giving
part
it
Vulcan
more,
and not human.
Yeah. And it's probably me reading into it more than they gave thoughts to.
Well, it's a machine trying to understand its purpose and what the creator created it for. And Spock is kind of one of those guys who's been always struggling with fitting in too. I mean, he's half human and half Vulcan, and he's been on Vulcan all his life, and we'll see in other shows and things of that nature that the children probably didn't play nice with them. He was basically Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, basically. And so Spock has to do extra to prove himself. And I think where we're at here, Vulcan, which I think Vulcan looks a little too tropical. No, I don't know if tropical is the right word for it, but it's hot there. It's just like a volcano island. And after this, you don't see a Vulcan look like this. But anyway, I just think that, Spock has to prove himself more than other Vulcans because he has what they would think is a kind of like disability. That's why I think why the Kolinahr is more important here for him than anybody else is because he's had to overcome a lot more than other Vulcans because of the emotions.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that that's something that they'll build on later on in the series. But we only get kind of like a taste of it here.
Okay. Well, that kind of clears up a little bit for me. So moving on, we come to obviously Admiral Kirk, who some would say takes in quotation the command of the Enterprise. What are your thoughts on that, on Kirk's decision to reclaim command? How does that affect kind of your view of him, the view of the ship, the view of the movie? Kind of a little bit of a bully up front, you think? Taking crap from nobody? Oh, of course he is. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that he's the guy that I would put in that chair over Decker. Not a doubt. You'll kind of see like characters like that and like things like this happen later on with like Commander Riker becomes a captain. And what was his name? The one from Picard again, who was eating the green steak, Ken. Captain, I want to say Shields. I don't know. But like stuff like that, it's like, oh, this guy that knows everything about his ship and all that. But it's like what he doesn't know is like the gut feelings that Kirk has. And Kirk causes problems. But in this one, this is an interesting part of where we see like Kirk become kind of a detective and like trying to like figure out these mysteries. We see that he's smarter than maybe we realized. And he's taking some interesting counsel. He always talks to Bones and gets Bones' take on things and Spock and all that. But like to see him actually like take like counsel from Decker, and it's like, yeah, we know he doesn't like Decker and Decker doesn't like him, but it's like, that's an interesting interaction to me. But Kirk is the guy, and he's the guy I need in this movie.
Do you think that? Do you think that Decker and Kirk don't like each other? Is there a
No,
past between them?
I think they do. I think they're fine with each other.
Up until Kirk saying, Decker, you're now below me.
Well, in the tidbits when we're talking about it, I mean, if this is true, if Decker is the son of Commander Decker, it almost is like that Kirk felt like he owed it to him because of what happened to his father. His father basically sacrificed himself, the Doomsday Machine, and died and stuff like that. So maybe he thought that he owed it to him because he's kind of excited when he sees him.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Initially sees him, but he also knows who Kirk is, right? He's an opportunist. He takes advantage of the situations.
Clearly.
And when he hears this, he's like, I knew it. I knew you were going to do this to me. Kirk recommended him for this post to begin with. And then Kirk basically takes it back from him because there's an opportunity. But I think rightfully so, though, because I don't think Decker's ready yet to take command. I think he eventually would be a good captain, based on some of the things we see.
He'd be as good as Cameron in the other movie.
I think he'd be better than Cameron. I think he's better than Cameron because in Next Generation, he's like, Captain Kirk, what would you do? He ain't going to ask Captain Kirk. It's like, no.
But he's tepid. It's like he's a know-it-all about his ship and all that, and he has no gut, no intuition whatsoever. And here's the problem that I have about like this entire movie. We see two people grisly die. One person has a reaction to it. That's it. Everyone else just stands there stone-faced. There's one bit of crying in this movie, and it's from like the actor that you don't expect to cry, and it's about something that is not as grave as like he just lost somebody right in front of us on the bridge. There is a lack of emotionality in general.
Are you talking about the transporter scene?
The transporter scene is the only one where we get the yeoman there.
Emotion, yeah.
We get that. When Aaliyah gets vaporized, she gets vaporized in front of everybody. The guy who supposedly loves her does
like, holy shit!
Like, it's seriously, and it's just like one of those things where it's like, okay, normally we would see like Kirk go off or like Bones or anything else or like somebody scream or anything, but it's like that's my point about like Stephen Collins, like in acting and in this role as Decker. Where's the emotion? He just comes off as kind of like, well, what are you doing? Oh no, my girlfriend died. Oh, I would have loved you in 1,000 lifetimes. And it's like, all right, man, I don't want that guy as my captain.
Decker has the support of the crew that's there that don't know Kirk.
Yeah.
Right. So you have the one guy goes, this is going to hurt Decker. He's been with the ship, but the original cast is basically like, the original crew is like, yeah, but this guy's going to make sure that we're okay. Our chances of surviving just went up massively, right? Yeah, like I said, I think Decker is going to be fine. I think because Decker shows, how he knows things. He's a
numbers guy, though. Like everything he's like countermanding is like, I recommend against this. And it's like, okay, how many times was Decker wrong? And I mean, we'll come back to this on like how many times Spock was wrong, but like with Decker, like how many times was he wrong? And he was right once about the phasers.
Right. He was right about the phasers.
I mean, I'm not counting where they're like, oh, you've got to calibrate or you got to run the simulations before we go into warp. And then like the mistake that Kirk makes, Kirk made that mistake. That wasn't like Decker being right or wrong because Scotty told him we're not ready.
Both of them, I would say, were not completely ready to be in this situation because Kirk has been 2.5 years, like he said. He hasn't like done this in a little bit. So there are things that he's going to be not aware of, like the redesign of the ship, whereas Decker has not been out there as an actual captain. And like, for instance, a good example of that is when raising the deflector shield, and Kirk is like, he's listened to everything before, and he's like, well, that could also make that alien vessel want to shoot us down.
Exactly.
Because of his experience in the past, he knows that. So in that sense, yeah, Decker's not ready. I think it's set up great in the fact that the reason why we have this animosity between the two is because Kirk actually told him that he was envy of him getting the Enterprise and that he wished one day he could actually be a captain again as well. Without that line, this doesn't happen. That's the only reason why I think these two have any beef with each other.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess I read it more contentious than that, but listening to you, it's like, okay, I get it. Maybe there's more of like a familial connection here, and I forgot that he did recommend Decker and all that, so I don't love Decker.
No, we don't get a chance to know him better, but with Aaliyah, we could tell that he has a personality, right? He loves and things of that nature. I think he's just going to be your basic captain. I don't think he's going to be anything special, but he does at the end of the day sacrifice himself for love. And
Is Decker in any of the other movies?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No, this is
Okay.
one and done.
One and done.
I feel like this character they went back to with Barkley, and I feel like that's kind of where they went with like
You would compare him to
personality-wise.
Barkley?
I would compare him to Bart. I mean, he does become like a godlike.
You just
being
compared
at
him to
the end.
Cameron, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I'm throwing a lot out there, so a lot of Dwight Schultz fans out there rejoice.
I would compare him to more to
Schultz.
Kelsey Grammer in the TNG episode where he
The
was in the
Admiral?
time loop.
Oh, okay. Well, there's
In
that
that time
too.
loop, yeah.
No
So-
beard though.
All right. So moving on, we've got the reveal of the Enterprise. Why do you think they spend so much time introducing this refitted Enterprise? Is it their prized possession? Is it the movie itself? They just want to show that this thing is brought into the late 70s now?
Because the Enterprise is a character in itself.
Well,
The ship is a character, and you have to give it the introduction that you gave to Spock and Kirk and McCoy. You have to, do that with the ship, because as the movie goes on, the rest of the way, we're going to focus on the plot and the characters and stuff, and the ship now becomes background. So I think it's just reintroduced to us to a beloved character. It's done a little too long, but there is a part of
Yeah.
me that really does like watching. I think the fact that you have to do a full 360 to get back into the entrance and stuff like that, you passed up the entrance already.
Do you
and
think
then
it
you go
should have
back
been
around.
shorter or kind of less visually grand?
I think it should have been just shorter.
Just shorter? Yeah, a couple
Just a little
minutes.
shorter, yeah.
I didn't need them backing up and into it and all that. Like they could have just like fast cut to like, oh, welcome aboard, sir. Like that would have been fine.
The ship
But
looks
they-
great. Love,
Yeah,
love
and
to
they
look at
want
it.
to show you how different this is from the series. Just what we're looking at. It's like, no, this is the new Enterprise.
And it's more detailed, and it's because the original series, it's very basic looking. I mean, it's still lovely to look at. I mean, 1966 compared to 79, you're gonna make some improvements, but here you actually see that they have more windows, and
Mhm.
whereas in the original series, you don't know enough about the ship in the original series. Where here, you even they have where they get everybody together and they tell them about what's going on. You show how massive this ship really truly is, because this is a massive ship. I joke around with the fact, where was the basketball court on the ship, and
Swimming pool.
swimming pool, and it's like the Love Boat in space. Yeah,
And it's
Where's
kinda
the
that, yeah,
bar?
no 10 forward, right?
Yeah. So what did you guys think of? I know obviously they had to change from the original, but I know the opinion is not very generous, but I'm going to ask yours. The uniforms.
I hate them, and they hated them, and
There was
they
one
burned.
I liked with like the white front that had like the blue on the sides and all that. I'm like, that's kind of a cool looking shirt, but it does look like the Love Boat. Like those short sleeve, like that number that George Takei is wearing, that Sulu's wearing and all that when he's up there. And it's like, oh man, like he looks like he's got like white shoes and he's just coming off the tennis court and he's just going to the helm. So it's kind of
like
like, this is
It's
weird.
Casual Friday. It's Casual Friday on the Enterprise. That's what,
Nice.
Aaliyah looks good. Uhura looks great, but yeah, she looks fantastic. But I mean, like Chekhov, like sitting there and again in like that white outfit with the collar and stuff. It's like, this is really weird. And it looks not functional,
My favorite outfit, obviously the casual attire of the day, is when Bones comes on the ship and his beard and his open
Chest
shirt and
hair,
stuff.
yeah.
Oh my, that's it, baby. Yes.
He just walks on like such a southern stud, doesn't he?
Yes,
He's just like- He's awesome.
It's like, they drafted me, damn it.
I still don't know to this day, and I'd never look it up. What is that thing? And looks like a belt buckle to a certain extent. Do we know what that
Yeah,
thing
it's-
is?
Yeah, that was weird. Yes.
It was odd. It was so ill placed because they had a cutout for it too. And I'm just like, what is this? Like, what purpose can that possibly? It's not like we're watching Dune and it's like your still suit will return the water lost in the desert. It's like, no, we don't need that here. What is it?
I have no clue. I've never looked it up, but every time I see it, it bothers me. It's
Belly
just like,
button
what?
fan.
It's a form-fitting device. If you hit the button, it then it's a one shirt fits all, but you have to have the little device there.
Like
to
in
kind of
Back to the
form fit it.
Future.
Yeah, something like that.
I like that. I'm going to pretend that's what it is, but I think you and I and Eric have put way too much thought into what that actually is, and they should have done that in the movie.
And they didn't
I
put
hate these new suits,
and they
Tim."
didn't put
Yeah.
enough thought on what that was in the movie. So there you go.
No, but we have to have it.
Since I'm not a big, I've watched a couple episodes of the TV series. I'm going to default to your opinion on this. Have the characters changed since the original series? I mean, how are they completely different, similar,
Less lines.
less lines? Okay.
There's like half the characters that you don't get anything from. I mean, we barely get any Montgomery Scott. You think about that reaction when Kirk tells him that they're going to enact Protocol 2005, and he's just like, "Okay, sir, no problem." That's it. What the hell? Again, like the lack of emotionality where it's like, that's a self-destruct code, asshole. It's like what are we talking about here? And it's like, oh, every man, woman, and child on this boat is going to die. And yeah, we're just here not reacting to that in engineering. Okay. I feel like Scotty might have something to argue about. Like, are you crazy?
The Sky at least got some lines. I mean, look at Sulu. Sulu has nothing.
Nothing.
No lines
at all.
whatsoever. He might have been more pissed after this movie than anything that he did in the original series because he didn't have any lines at all. Uhura was followed right behind him. I mean, they were basically just eye
Chekhov
candy.
got more, maybe. Yeah.
Got a little bit more. Scotty actually probably had the most out of the secondary cast, especially because he had a conversation with Kirk. And I'll tell you, that's some great acting from an actor that can't stand, William Shatner, James doing just basically, telling him how much, he's going to make sure that the Enterprise will be ready to go in 12 hours because of you, Captain. So, I mean,
How often too are they like alone in a conversation in the same room? Because most of the time they're acting, they don't even have to act together. It's just like them talking and they split screen and be like, oh, he's over here. So it's a good point. Like he doesn't really interact with him in person often.
He just has to be on the intercom.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, he's like Charlie from Charlie's Angels. Hello,
He's
Angels.
more Bosley, but
He looks like more like Bosley. In
All
fact,
right.
out of all the people on the show, he's probably the one that looks like ages the most in that like
yeah, that's
10-year
true.
gap. Got a little chubbier and a little bit more. Yeah.
Nimoy looks relatively identical, but I mean the things you could do with makeup, right?
I think he's heavier makeup, but I guess the TV show was pretty heavy too.
Makeup, lighting. They shot this with
Yeah.
certain lighting and certain angles
Sure.
to not show the age. They gave up on that idea when they got to Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, because they're like, we're going to accept the fact that this is an older crew. Star Trek II, I think he turns 50. It feels like he's basically at the end of his life, and I just turned 54, so thank you for that reference.
You look better than Spock, though.
But Spock's also 200 years old, probably. But yeah.
When 200 years old you are, how look you do?
Exactly.
Wrong movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, they did it on purpose, special lighting and special angles to make them look younger. Because this is only supposed to be a few years after the original series ended. That's why Kirk says it's been 2.5 years. Only a few years has supposedly have gone by, but
And
everybody's aged horribly.
It's been 2.5 years since NBC cut my contract.
I love his sideburns, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like he's really gone wild in his civilian days or his
And I guess
admiral days.
I guess he had gained a lot of weight. He was on a starvation diet for this role.
Shatner?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, to lose a lot of weight for this.
Yeah, Shatner can pork up. He's done that before. So we kind of joked about this one in our intro, but let's talk about that wormhole sequence. So,
Oh boy.
Yes, it's interesting. I watch this and I'm like, this is really fucking weird. Very psychedelic, kind of. Obviously, it challenged Kirk's confidence. Deckard took control of everything. But what do you guys think of it overall? Is it just like a setup to show that Kirk doesn't know this ship and he needs to put his confidence in his crew versus him being a dictator?
Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I think
something that happened for a reason that I don't particularly like. I don't know about you, Ken, but
I think
I think we should have had Inagata Devita playing in the background as they're going
yeah,
through
I
the
mean,
wormhole.
or like Willy Wonka on the bridge, like yelling.
how they were explaining why things happened the way they did. I feel is like, again, bad writing.
Mm-hmm.
This hasn't aged well at all. And
No, it has not.
Did you think Doctor Who? Like when you saw this?
yeah,
Yeah, that's
Doctor
kind of
Who.
what
they
I
should play the
thought.
Doctor Who theme music in the background, and it would have been funnier if the thing instead was the TARDIS
The
instead
TARDIS in the background.
of an asteroid or whatever that was.
The TARDIS.
They shot the TARDIS out.
Wow. Cue the theremin music, or it's a Dalek or something.
Yes. The Doctor Who special effects, but they did that on purpose, didn't they? To be
It's-
like
yeah.
But that's
cheesy
what
and
it
bad.
felt like.
Yeah.
I think Justin says it correctly here.
It's
This special
hokey.
effect feels a little 10 years, old in 1979. And that's why, again, it doesn't age well later on. You didn't see this in Star Wars. You didn't see this in
No.
2001. I mean, what are you doing here? I mean, this tries to be 2001 with all the space, especially when the Enterprise is leaving space dock and you see that little guy outside and he's doing flips. He's
nailed
doing
it, man.
flips like
Yeah.
he's having fun with them leaving, like, hey, look at me, I'm flipping. But yeah, it doesn't know what it wants to be at times. It wants to be 2001, and sometimes it does a really great job of that, but it takes too much time to try to do those type of things and stuff. Whereas this is, Justin said earlier, the pacing. The pacing in this whole movie is bad. It's just, it doesn't keep you engaged. You don't have a great storyline to begin with. You don't have any real action sequences. And then when you want to show something, you extend it so long that if I knew that these scenes were going to be this long, this would have been a great time to go get the popcorn and the pop from, go to the bathroom, whatever you needed to do. Because when you got back, it'd still be going on. I hate these
To
special
build
effects.
on what you're saying about how this movie doesn't know what it wants to be, I think you articulated perfect on how it wants to be a cross between like 2001: A Space Odyssey and Star Wars. But the problem is, by comparison, we've seen Warp Drive in action in the series, and then we've seen Lightspeed in Star Wars, and then we see this Doctor Who wormhole and all that, and it's like, what the hell is going on? Like, show don't tell, but what you're showing us is that we don't understand as the viewer what the stakes are. Is this a normal thing that happens and just go through it? Is the only problem that, something got pulled into this with us? Is this like a normal thing? Like, I have no idea. It was so damn confusing. I'm like, I've never seen this before as a Star Trek fan. I don't know what the stakes are. Like, should I be worried? Is the crew going to die? It was really confusing.
What if they do hit that asteroid? What happens?
Does everyone die because of something? It's like,
yeah.
I don't
They
know.
What happens if you fire the phaser versus a torpedo, right?
And couldn't he have just said that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of
Educate
making
us.
like a dramatic run where he gets blurred out and all that? It's like, yeah, pacing is way off in this. The stakes are not understood by the viewer. It's just, it's a fun scene because if you look at it, it's like watching a bad movie. And,
Yes.
and I'm not going to say that this is like a complete bad movie, but there are some parts of it where it's like, oh my God, I could watch this clip on YouTube with a bunch of drunk friends and just be like, oh no. It's like a bad movie, like presentation all around. And I think that's an absolute miss on the director's vision.
There's a lot of mistakes here. First of all, they're like 20 seconds. This is the longest freaking 20 seconds, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, you could
Again, the pacing.
The pacing. You could actually extended this scene a little bit and stretched it out, kind of educated to give the audience an education on what was going on.
Exactly.
But you didn't do that. And so it feels long when it's not that long, but it should have been longer. It's really weird on how this, and I feel like we're like, what is it? What's the show that makes fun of?
Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Mystery
MSK 3000.
I feel like right here is
Would have
where
been perfect.
they would have just ripped on it and probably did the same thing that we did at the beginning, going, torpedoes. It's funny for the wrong reasons, right? We make fun of it because it's bad.
It's
bad.
not
And then
it's not good choice on like any level. The performances are weird. Like the choices that they make are like, okay, it's kind of consistent and then kind of not consistent. It's like when was it what's her name, Olsen? Was it Elizabeth Olsen that does Scarlet Witch? Like how she sometimes has an accent and sometimes doesn't in like Marvel movies. It's like Chekhov is kind of like that, where he's like, okay, am I gonna draw this out? And Kirk is like, am I gonna draw this out or am I gonna nod? And Stephen Collins is doing
oh,
something different. I'm like, just
Aaliyah's
not
there,
even.
and she's bouncing up and down. Nobody else is bouncing, but some
Yeah,
reason she does like
she's
dun, 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 dun.
gyrating. Like
She's gyrating,
she's
but
sitting there. They're
nobody
like,
else
just
is.
do this. It's
Yeah,
weird.
that's a
Like it's
very
an awkward.
60s TV show thing though to do. Hey, I'm gonna bounce up and down.
Reminds me of that laughing, right?
But then you have Shatner he's got the captain's chair that now has like almost like a
Locked in.
seatbelt that he gets locked in. Everybody else more important than him. The helmsman could get thrown off, and we don't need a helmsman, and we don't need any anybody else on any of their stations. But the captain needs to be. But we got to make sure the captain is secure. Okay,
Maybe it was a toilet. I don't know.
it comes out of nowhere, and it's never used ever again in any of the other movies or shows.
Welcome to the trope of Star Trek movies, which we started here.
We just did a refit for you to have this, and then we're never going to show it to you ever again. Like, where did it come from? I mean, if you watch this movie from start to finish again, you don't know where that thing came from, where all of a sudden he could bulk himself in. I mean, come on.
Ken, all I can say to that is meet me on the battle bridge. And then where do we see that again? It's like Eric's so lost, but that's fine. Yeah.
A little bit, but that's cool.
Right.
So moving on here, obviously we have Aaliyah coming on board. We have Spock make his grand entrance. A lot of tensions between the crew here, which I think are lessened with these people being on board, which obviously is important. It becomes a little bit more like your stereotypical Star Trek, where everyone's kind of joking a little bit. Bones comes on. We get a little bit more sarcasm, human-esque figures there. So approaching the V'ger cloud. This is the whole movie. V'ger's coming to get them, right? They're going to kill Earth. They approach the cloud. I thought that was a pretty cool scene, kind of setting it up there. And then you have Shatner, don't trigger it. Don't piss it off. And then we have the bot, the probe entering the ship. What'd you guys think of the probe taking over Aaliyah, like entering the ship as a, I don't know what you'd call it, just a probe. Did you think that was kind of cool?
You mean the white light?
The white light, the probe, yeah.
Another kind of weird scene, like awkward.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get they were going for something different. I mean, it's kind of unremarkable. And like, I like it in the sense that it's like a low budget way to do something. But I also found it like really strange that it's like, oh, they're taking over the computer and then like Spock smashes the computer and stuff like that. I'm like,
right.
I feel like, again, some weird choices. And I know Ken's going to back me up on the writing here because I feel like lazy writing, but kind of like they put so much faith in the audience that we're going to fill in the gaps of what's going on here. It's not like a truly, like monumental thing when one of their people is disintegrated. And I think that's a problem. Nobody cares except for the one person who should care, who stands there dumbfounded, and then 2 minutes later has like an unemotional reaction about something else. So I think it's like, for me, it's in the performance where it's like the effects are what they are and it's fine, but like the performance is severely lacking in the scene.
But you have her when she's being like taken over by this light or whatever it is. It almost feels like stop motion animation all of a sudden. It just, her reactions and the like, it feels like a still shot and stuff like that. And it just looks bad. I mean, first of all, give us an actress that can freaking act at least. I mean, I think if we would have had a better actress, I think this could have helped out a little bit.
You think so? Like Terry Garr?
I mean, but yeah, bring on Terry. I mean,
Erin Gray.
She was in the original series. Terry Garr made an original series appearance.
I know. That's I was joking. So
yeah,
she was out with Harry Mudd, right?
No, this was the spinoff that never happened. So they were doing some type of alien that comes down to Earth.
Kirk and Company.
Yeah,
there you go.
It was
Kirk and Co.
It was a weird try to spin off.
He lives in a apartment with two Vulcans, and their Klingon landlord.
They're still going to the Regal Beagle. So
my God, so many 70s references in this episode, by the way.
All right.
I like Aaliyah as a robot. Like, I like her, and I feel she's visually interesting. And the fact that they changed her by putting that little red light on like her voice box area after like scanning her and stuff like that, I thought that she
I like
was
the outfit she
interesting.
wears and the heels. That's kind of intriguing.
Yet
Does
talks
she,
about logic.
does she
Well,
first
why her?
appear in a shower?
They're decontaminating her. That's what that
Okay.
yeah, that's what I think they're doing there is she's reappearing into that area, and I think that's what that is. But I want to know why her. Out of all the people on this ship,
Why not?
She's
why
the
her?
only one that looks different on that bridge, except for the guy with like the high forehead. So it's like it's clear that they were setting that up from the beginning. It's like, oh, this character that looks different. It's like watching a cartoon when you can see the thing they're going to pick up is like animated differently. They're
There
leading
goes-
us there.
We're going to turn this person into an android. What is the closest thing to an android on this freaking ship? And it's her.
That's right. That's right.
And of course, you have to show off her legs and everything like that. Hey, we're going to make her an android, but now she's going to be a sexy
android. That's right.
I don't
He's
like the
messing
fact
with my
that she's-
favorite part of this film.
I know he is. How dare he?
I don't like the fact that they made her an android. I would have rather her still be alive. They make her alive at the end of this movie. So is she an android?
I don't even know what to tell you, and I've watched this like 6 times. So it's like, yes, no, like you're right, you're wrong. I don't know. It's up to your interpretation of what's going on.
And that changes as I, get older, and I won't say wiser, maybe just a little bit grumpier at this movie. But yeah, I just feel
We've
like
seen it done better since. That's why.
Oh yeah.
Every aspect
yeah.
of this film has been done better. Like, I mean, I was talking about Picard, the series earlier, but like even Next Generation had aspects of this when we got to like First Contact and stuff. We've seen every plot part of this movie done better.
I just think having her still alive in there kind of brings different stakes to everything. Maybe we could still save her. Maybe we could find ways for us to bring her back. I just feel like killing her off and say that this is not her, this is an android. It would have been.
Why does no one react like she died too? Like that's the whole thing where it's like when Yar died, like people were sad. They were upset. It's like we saw like Worf and Data and all that. Like they were upset. Like we've seen things like that when the red shirts would die in the original series. It's like this is terrible. But like what's
They
going
killed
on?
the extra.
With her, she has no relationship with anybody on the ship except for Decker, because she comes on board as a new crewman. It's not like she's been hanging out and having drinks in 10 Forward. None of them know her. And so the only one that really needs to have a strong emotional response is Decker.
So you think like legitimately that Sulu and Chekhov and Uhura and all that, like sitting on the bridge with someone who gets vaporized are not going to have a reaction?
I think they should be like scared
been
and
them.
frightened. Yeah, like that. I think for them, they should have been like scared and frightened. But I think actually like have like be sad because she died. I don't think there's been enough time.
Take a minute, like take a breather. Like seriously, there's not even like let's take a minute to honor what
It's not
just
like
happened.
the threat is. It's not like the threat's gone.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think they're worried
I
about
get that
who's
they're
next.
in shock, in a sense, but
Yeah.
I just like the only character that actually makes sense on that entire interaction is Spock, trying to be the logical person, tries to save her 2 times, gets zapped and knocked off and all that, not showing emotion. Yeah, that's Spock. Like I get it, I buy it. I do not buy Chekhov not being or visually like shaken by somebody getting vaporized in front of him.
I mean, let's also look at the fact how many times have they've been through this and have had one of the
All right,
crew
man.
members like, oh yeah, that happens every time. So
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
I don't have a big problem with the crew itself and the reactions. I have a problem more with Decker. I mean, he gets better as the movie moves along, I guess.
He's in love with her. Like
He's in love with her, but he also he's a captain. He's still a captain. He's just been temporarily demoted while Kirk takes over his ship, but he still has to be strong in front of everybody else. And I think everybody else on the ship, like Uhura and Sulu and Chekhov, they're not just ensigns and, they're probably highly decorated commanders and stuff like that. I mean, by the next movie, we know Chekhov is a commander. So
yeah, that lasts a long time.
He probably got demoted.
Still better
after
than
living.
Alan Ruck, right?
Yeah, most definitely. But I think, like I said, I think these crewmen, I think the other crewmen, the newbies, I think should have more reaction because we haven't seen them go through this before. Let's be honest. This movie is made for Star Trek fans. Star Trek fans know that these characters have been through this back and forth and then some. But these newer characters, I think that's one of the problems maybe with this movie. Like in the past, I've always been I hate it when newer characters were introduced into something that I beloved. Like, hey, it's like a reboot. Now we're gonna like give you this character and this character and this character. This actually suffers from the fact that you don't have like new characters to fall in love with. There should be like a new character in there that you connect with. And we don't have that here. And maybe that new character is the one that maybe it's her. When something bad happens for her, you feel bad for her. Did you feel bad for her when she died? I didn't feel bad for her when she got vaporized. I didn't give a shit.
Ted would have cried.
I don't know the stakes, guys. Like, I don't know if it's like, was she transported away, anything? I was curious about that with the Klingon ships. Were they destroyed? Did they just go someplace else? No one explained it to me. So
Klingon heaven?
Yeah, Klingon heaven.
To the halls of Kahless.
But that's, again, another thing that we just don't know. What happened to her? We are not given a chance to kind of have a response to it. And her character's not well developed enough for us to even give a shit.
I agree with that statement. Absolutely. I disagree that the crew should have had some sort of reaction, some sort of anything.
Maybe. But if I don't care, then I don't care if they don't care. So it's simple as that for me.
Okay.
At least.
Okay. What'd you guys think of Spock's spacewalk? That was a little long.
That's 2001.
Yeah,
that's 2001.
Total
right
2001. I think it's the same suit.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's basically stealing everything from 2001 right there.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes on way too long.
Yes.
Again, masturbatory.
I'm not fond of Spock's character up to this point either. He's obsessed, but he doesn't have any personality whatsoever.
Until he comes back and he's on the bed there. Then he's got a personality.
Then he's a little bit better.
Then he's Leonard Nimoy talking to Shatner on at the bar.
Like before, it's like, I don't know who you guys are. I've never met any of you before.
Right.
That's how it comes off. And I feel like it would have been more interesting if Spock came in and kind of like had a little bit of emotion and kind of like was faking them to trust him. So he did go to V'Ger and try to bond with it, stuff like that. I'm not enjoying the Spock character in this movie that much.
I think that's going to be the quote of this episode. If not that, like, I'm not enjoying blank in this movie. Yeah.
If it wasn't for DeForest Kelley Bones, I mean, he
stole every scene. Yeah.
He steals everything. He's what keeps me going throughout this whole movie.
Yeah. I am with you there. Yeah, he's flawless in this.
Such a great character actor. I adore him.
Yes. So what do you guys think of the interior of V'Ger?
Too much.
Too much?
Too much.
Black hole Tron, kind of like walking across this weird space bridge and all that. And then they get in there and it's like, oh, okay.
And there's an atmosphere. We love that. Always an atmosphere.
Like, again, so many questions unanswered. And then you get in there and it's kind of like the big reveal is cool. Like, I like that aspect, but it's like, all right, I feel like so much towards the climax of this film is unearned. Like, including like, oh no, I just figured out that I'm going to bluff this alien and stuff like that. Only Kirk could go there. But so much of this is like unearned leading up to there. And like the blind faith that everybody has and no one questions stuff and all that. I think Deckard probably would have been a little more pissed off. What the frick is going on? You're gambling with our lives and all that. And Sulu's like, he does this. It's like,
that's a great impression there.
It's really unearned, I think. And then
actually you just had more lines than actually
yes.
That's one thing that really bothers me about this movie too. It's like all these great actors that you have and you're not giving them anything to play with.
Well, it's the William Shatner show, let's be honest.
And Shatner and Nimoy show.
And Shatner does a good job. I mean, but again, bad writing is going to give you bad outcomes. And I just think here it's just overkill. I think it's just, you're giving us so much. And do we need like these extensive shots of, I don't even know what I'm looking at half the time.
No, they're trying
I
to
mean-
be Stanley Kubrick, right? Like
It
making
almost,
these
it almost
epic-
looks like we went to Plaid there on Spaceballs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Some of these scenes, it's like, wow. You got to drop
mean-
acid to really appreciate the
The-
We're
special
talking
effects.
about a well-paced film. Mel Brooks can direct a movie.
Yeah, Mel Brooks should have made this movie. Yeah.
I mean, I like the reveal, but that's about it.
The great thing about Spaceballs is when they have the ship and they're like making fun about how freaking long this ship is and
Yes.
stuff like that. It's almost like I need a joke here at the end of this, but it just goes on and on for no particular reason whatsoever. Show me a shot here, show me a shot here. I get it. This thing is massive, but do you really have to we're Star Trek fans. Trust us to know that we understand how big this thing is. I agree with Eric. Must have been a really bad year for science fiction, special effects that year. I mean, I'm going to take a camera. I'm gonna make this big ass model, and I'm just going to take this camera. I'm just going to go hover over it for like a millennium, and then I'm going to get an award for it. Okay, whatever.
Nope, they got a nomination for it.
Didn't you say they won the Saturn Award? For
That was
special
it
effects?
for special effects. Yeah, I think that was might be best visual effect. No, best special effects. Yeah. So
Ooh, okay. Must have been a tough year.
79. So what did we have? 79. That was just the black hole.
I've seen better special effects in Buck Rogers TV shows.
I have as well. Man, and you nailed it. Just way too long. Like everything, all the build up. Like
Yeah, and it just doesn't pay off. There's just no payoff on it whatsoever. And then you get there, and and then they go visit it, and it's like, this is just a tiny little probe that we sent out back in the 70s that somehow gathered all this knowledge and became this big ass thing. And I don't know.
So apparently they say it got lost in a black hole, Voyager
Mhm.
6, and then the alien machine ship picked it up, thought it was another machine, like an orphan puppy, and nursed it back to life and kind of melded it into its society of machines and discovered all this information and thought, oh, this is a god, this is a creator, this is something special out there, and just worshipped it, if you will.
I'm like, okay, if you say so.
And then on top of that, once Decker and Leah have their bonding moment, it all disappears. It all goes away. That thing was physically massive. So them doing what they did together got rid of all that. I mean, to me, again, no explanation on what this happens. And the other movies, there's no payoff. I mean, if we find, Decker and Leah down the road, they find out something else about them. I don't know if there's any comics that, talk about their fate or what
There's
happened.
got to be something like books
Gotta
or
be
anything.
something. But I mean,
Yeah.
the TV episode did it better.
We have the Q Collective, right? Episode 1, Farpoint and all that literally is bigger than all of this. Q is more powerful than all of these things and all that. So it's like, we don't need Star Trek, the motion picture or whatever that is. We've got something far more interesting that happened in the first episode of the new series. And they're charismatic and they're fun to watch. I've seen it done better.
I think you would have been better off giving us what we wanted, and that was revisit our friends, the crew of the Enterprise. Let's get more dialogue out of them, because that's why I came to see was the original crew. I can give two shits about the storyline on this movie. You brought them back. It's like Star Wars screwing up the fact that we wanted Princess Leia and Han Solo and Luke Skywalker to be back together again
In the same room.
in the same room. They screwed that up. Star Trek, they have them in the same room, but they don't have them interacting with each other.
That's still a way better movie than this one, though.
It is.
Like, you're not wrong, but like all of that Star Trek stuff from was it The Force Awakens, so much better than this movie.
Back because the fans wanted you back. Give the fans what they want. And you went on some type of tangent on your own. It's like The Last Jedi. It's like trying to do something different. It's almost like they try to be too smart about this. It's like,
That's what I was saying, where I say it's masturbatory, because it's like, oh, well, we're just going to get this. Like, wow, I can't wait to hear Decker, quote policy again. It's like, like, oh, wow. Oh, are there legal ramifications if something happens? Ooh, do tell. It's like, will there be fees imposed? It's so friggin' boring.
And speaking of boring, how about the ending? What's up with that? Come on.
It's flat. It's flat.
Flat? It doesn't
just
even
kind of-
exist. It doesn't even set up a sequel. It doesn't set up anything. It's like deflating. Like you said, V'ger and the Cloud disappear. Now what? Right?
Mhm.
We made a very interesting new race out there. I can't wait to see what happens when they take over the world. Nothing at all.
Wouldn't it have been interesting if, kind of like what Ken was saying, what if all the people that disappeared because of V'ger came back? That would have been more interesting to me. Where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, they reversed everything, so it's like now everyone's not dead. Obviously, we lost Elia and we lost Decker and all that, but it's like, what if the Klingons came back and now they're pissed off, and that leads into the next friggin' movie? That would have been a better way to go about this, and be like, all the people that died on the space station and stuff like that are back. That guy that's floating out into space is back.
How about a movie dedicated just to Klingons? A Klingon point of view, Star Trek.
That I feel like we've gotten
thought
some of
about
that.
that.
Like we've
They-
gotten
they
some of
thought
that,
about
but it's hard. You got to use them sparsely, or they get just overdone. And a lot of them are really like cliches about like Asiatic cultures and like Japanese and things. So it's like
Stereotypes, is that what you're saying?
it is a lot of that. So it's like they changed some of that with like the Discovery, like that series. But I mean, realistically, you just get kind of like a ton of stereotypes.
Hate
So
the
it's like,
Klingons and Discovery. Gosh.
I mean, originally
Anyway.
they were like meant to be a different culture, and that's kind of where Gene Roddenberry pulled them from. Was like, oh, this like part of like the Mongols who invaded China and like Asia and like part of Russia, and they're like the bad guys, and that's kind of like what they are, and that's why they look different.
Okay.
But yeah, flat ending, absolutely. Like I think Ken said it perfectly. It's like, what happened? I don't know. Again, we didn't understand the stakes. We didn't understand like what was at risk. We didn't understand the how on anything. And then just afterwards, we're left asking why. So it's kind of like, yeah, this is what the hell
And
happened.
they're running away from all the light that's happening here. It's like all of a sudden you guys could run like the speed of light yourselves. I mean, where are you going to? Because it took you forever to get there. Your walk there will take you forever, but somehow you're able to run as fast as possible on your way back, so you don't get like
Can't use the
engulfed in this
transporter.
thing. I mean,
No, that's not good.
first of all, you're borrowing an idea that you already, from an old TV show. It's like all of a sudden, hey, we got a green light. You guys got 3 months to do this. Go.
It
Go,
does seem
go.
rushed. Yeah, it's so
No.
interesting because it's like I didn't think about it in those terms because like they spent so much on these effects and all of that, and it's like you could tell where the budget to this went. We have to get the original actors and we have to get the effects going. Everything else is going to be secondary. They got a big writer to do this, and it's just not that great of a plot.
It's like, and we'll talk about this more in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, but instead they wanted to be, like you said, Stanley Kubrick. We want to be like, we want to do something that people be like, wow, because, 2001 did it and people are like, wow, that was amazing. And then Star Wars comes out and they're like, that changes the game. And they think they wanted to be, they wanted to change the game themselves. But instead of changing the game, they rehashed a lot of old shit that other people have already done and did it better. And those people did it better than they did. That's
I
all
like
it is.
what you're saying because this film did change the game. This film, like what it became and all that, is more important than the movie itself. Because this is the movie that changed what Star Wars or Trek did. I only did it once. Star Trek was
Only one
like
time.
like to a new generation of fans. It led to so much. It led to a series of films with this cast, and it led to spin-off series. Without this movie, that doesn't happen. So this movie is really important in that aspect. Like, and that's kind of what I was glomming from what you were saying, like the impact of this film. But it's like, yeah, is this what you want? No. But because of it, we got this great stuff.
I think they learned from their mistakes from one and applied it. But this could have been the end. This
Oh
could
yeah,
have,
easily.
but
If
it
this
made
was made now
it
on
made money, though.
streaming, that would have been the end. Yeah.
But it made money. It made
yeah.
money. So it was something like, okay, it made money. People weren't excited, but if we do it better, but we could do it better and cheaper this time around. And that's what they did. And why did it? They got a director and writers that cared about Star Trek. I'm not saying that the director didn't care about Star Trek. He just wasn't Star Trek. Later on, we'll talk about it probably in Nemesis, but you get a director who comes on Nemesis and he doesn't know anything about Star Trek. You could just tell it at times there's like a fight between what the vision of the director wants and what Star Trek fans want. He allows us to get some of that here and there, but he never gives us what fans deserved, which was just give us our Star Trek the way that we remember it.
Does this
Original
read that way
series-
to you, Eric? Like as like an outsider fan, like does it read like that to you?
Yes.
Like what Ken's saying?
I have seen a few episodes of Star Trek, not obviously to the point that you guys have, but yes, I agree with that 100%. Absolutely.
I think that's really insightful what you said.
Yeah.
I think that you summed it up perfectly. They didn't give us what we wanted.
No. Well, final thoughts, gentlemen. I'll give you one last chance here. If there's something we haven't brought up that you want to discuss, feel free. Wild card. Justin?
I like the diversity of the crew that they have. Like they're giving us kind of like a different idea of what's in the future. Like people look differently than they did on the show, where you don't have like the red shirts and all that and stuff like that, where it's like it's an interesting idea. You have some aliens. I would have liked to seen like more. So I feel like that was another opportunity that they have, and they'll get to that later. But I think like aesthetically, this is a really good looking space movie in certain ideas. Like just they could improve on some things, but I like that. Like they don't look like they did on the series, and they gave me something different. So I like that aspect of it.
Okay. Ken, how about you?
I would say the best parts of these films is when the three leads get together and are in the same room together and talking to each other. I mean, when Spock comes back from his spacewalk and the interaction there, and even on the little bit of the interaction at the end after Beecher has the baby, that's classic Star Trek. When those three get together and they're, working off of each other, that's what I want to see. That's what I want. Give me more of that. And then in the other movies, you could branch out a little bit more into other things. But this is the first movie. Give me what I love most about the original film, and it's these three characters.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, you're talking about Kirk, Spock, and Bones.
Yes.
Yeah. Scotty and Sulu. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Chekhov doesn't count because he wasn't in season 1. So,
all right. Well, let's get into our reviews. We'll kick it off here with Ken. I'd like to hear his opinion here. What do you got, Ken?
This movie relies on nostalgia for my rating because it is not a good plot. It's not good dialogue, but the crew's here. I mean, we love Spock and Kirk and Bones and the rest of the cast that has 1 or 2 lines. It's comfort food, but it's like you get like a nice meal and everything looks like it's going to be okay. And then when you dig into it, some of it tastes good, and then some of it you just want to spit out of your mouth. This is how I feel about this movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
At times,
wait till you hear mine.
At times, I really do like this movie, and at times, I don't. I think I actually have a worse opinion of this after watching 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
Because
the bar is set so high.
Yeah, I think as the years have gone by, my opinion of that movie of 2001 has gone up, whereas this movie has gone the opposite direction. And that comes from a Star Trek fan. Yeah, a lot of things I've already said about this. They've missed the boat in so many different ways. The fact that they were able to go on to a movie franchise is amazing. That says something about the original idea of this show and how the fans love this. And the fans are the reason why we had a sequel, not because this movie was any good. Ouch. At the same time, Star Trek is better than no Star Trek, in my opinion. That's kind of like the Star Wars theory. I still will watch this from time to time because it's like KFC chicken. Sometimes I crave for it, even though I know it's not good. So I'm going to land on 2 3/4 hooks on this movie.
2 3/4.
God,
I'm actually being nice because that's all nostalgia. If I was basing it on not being a Star Trek fan, this would get a 1 hook.
Wow.
This not a good movie. And I would challenge this to be the worst Star Trek movie there is.
It's close. And yeah.
I know there'll be another one that we'll talk about, and we won't talk about what that is just yet, but this is viable for the worst Star Trek movie ever.
All right, Justin.
This is worse than Nemesis. Come on. So Oh my God, I'm reeling here because this is a below average film. It's like everything from the direction to the acting choices, the writing, the effects, like everything that we've talked about. It is like they gave it that 51% on Rotten Tomatoes and all that. It's less. Like when you look at this with a critical eye, it's not a travesty, but there's like aspects of this film that make it like a watchable bad movie, like Ken's saying. And I don't enjoy this one. And I think watching it again was a task. It was a chore. It wasn't like, oh, I can't wait to watch this. I can't say that about a lot of Star Trek. Yes, all Trek is good Trek and all that, it's fine, but this is below average, man. It's like if this is the jumping point, it's kind of like, oh my God, it can only get better from here. 2.75 is exactly where my head was at because it's not terrible, and it's not unwatchable completely, but it is below average and it should be treated as a ill-paced movie with a terrible plot, uninteresting dialogue, uninteresting performances on everyone except for the main three cast. What can you say? It's a below average movie. It's not the worst thing that I've seen, but it's not great by any standard, I think.
Finish us off, Eric.
Whew, boy, this is a tough one for me. So all my knowledge is pretty much based on Star Trek movies, not real big on the TV show. But I would definitely agree that this is probably one of the worst Star Trek movies I've ever seen. I think the hype of it being set up, people coming out really expecting a whole hell of a lot and not getting delivered, probably sank this thing a lot. I would agree. Bad Star Trek is better than no Star Trek. If the original characters were not in this, if they tried to set this thing up with like additional characters or something, new characters, I'd say you probably have a fail here because the movie itself is pretty much 100% based on nostalgia. If you didn't have nostalgia, you wouldn't have this movie at all. I am teetering on 3, but I agree. 2.75 is probably the way I'm going on this as well. It's just not a good movie. And it's not a good movie because there was so much more they could have done on this to make it a better movie. That's what really kind of pisses me off. Yes, the special effects sucked. I get that. But the writing could have been so much better, which in turn would make the acting so much better. Why didn't you have any action sequences, battle scenes, something a little bit more exciting? I mean, we get that in the other Star Trek movies. Clearly, this one's just a dud, and it really is disappointing. So 7.5 for me as well too.
I like what you said there at the end. In fact, what probably would have made this better would have been maybe they had a fight scene between the Klingons and the Federation at the beginning, and on the way back from that fight, the Klingons, then that all happens to them, right? Start off with give us a taste of a little, battle scene at the beginning here, and then go into this V'ger that destroys the Klingon ship, and then maybe the Klingons thinks that we did it, or that we destroyed the Klingon
there
ship,
you
but
go.
it was V'gers.
Yeah,
Something like that to start the film, right?
Yeah.
But
like maybe the Klingons were chasing a ship and they destroyed it, so we could see how powerful they are, something. But yeah, it's a lot of underused resources, and I mean, how do you miss an opportunity to have Kirk overact? How do you miss that? Shatner,
exactly, right?
We even got a detailed version of the Klingon ship. We got a detailed,
yes.
even show us close up of that ship too. But you know what? They did that the right way. It was short and sweet.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't take a long time to show us what the new Klingon ship looked like.
I don't know, man. There was just so much that could have been done on it. It was very, very disappointing. So
yeah, that's it's boring. I mean, it's very boring as
the
well.
ending, especially. You're like, wow, that's how you end it. Okay, all right.
I like the music. I think the music's good.
Yeah, the music.
The sound is awesome for the most part.
Yeah.
Not
you
in
probably
the
should have
updated
probably
version.
said the one good thing about this movie was the music, and they made them change the music originally because originally they didn't accept the music that he presented.
I'm going to be honest,
he had to go back to the drawing board.
I think giving it a G rating hurt it.
Well, I would imagine.
There's and I'm not talking like hardcore nudity, which really would have helped this movie actually, but I mean just action scenes, violence, something a little bit more. Maybe seeing the people all melted and twisted up in the transporter, something that gave it a PG. I think would have helped us a great deal.
You know,
Damn it,
I
Jim.
think the reason,
Something from Bones.
I think why they aimed for G was because it was a TV show. because the
Maybe. Well,
TV
they
show
learned from their
is-
mistakes, clearly.
The TV show is for general audience. We didn't have ratings for TV shows back in the day, right?
That's true.
So now you do, but back in the day you didn't. And so, hey, how are we going to market this? Well, we're going to market this as everybody can see it. Because there was no PG-13. There was G,
Nope.
PG, and R,
Yeah.
and then our favorite X-rated.
I don't even know
No,
if
that's not
hardcore nudity would have helped. I mean, there's the only scene that I could think of would be with Aaliyah and all that. It's like,
Well, of
okay.
course.
that would have been
Yeah.
like the only scene, like even like some tasteful side boob. In general, like language would have been the only thing in like
Violence,
things like that they could have
Worse
done.
scenes.
By the way,
Yeah.
there was one thing I forgot to mention in here. Okay, Bones mentions that Chapel is no longer available, but then she shows up on the ship. Nurse Chapel is there.
Well,
says
Nurse
at the
Chapel.
beginning of-
Yeah.
Dr. Chapel was there.
Dr.
Yeah.
Chapel.
Well, yeah, because he said, well, now I'll need a nurse because I heard Chapel's an MD now. But all of a sudden, she's there assisting him. I mean, what the hey?
You know, it was
So-
because Kirk manipulated it. That's what it was. Like, that's why he's on there, because Kirk pulled some strings to get Bones.
I get why Bones is there.
He screwed
I
him
don't get
over.
why. I didn't get why Nurse Chapel was or Dr. Chapel is there when we were told that she wasn't going to be there, and then all of a sudden she just
Appears out of
mysteriously
nowhere.
appears.
But
Yeah.
you didn't hear her big dialogue that she had with all this stuff. Oh wait, it doesn't exist. So yeah, it's like,
All right. Ken, what's the next movie we're going to be doing after this?
Well, we're going to do the sequel to this film. I believe it's the 1982
Yes,
Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
that is right. The Wrath of Khan, a completely different movie.
mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, that is all the time we have for this episode of Hooked on Movies, the podcast. Thank you all for listening. And of course, get your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape.
Get busy living or get busy dying.
See you next time on Hooked on Movies.
See you at the movies.